From the Northeast Georgia Business RadioX studio, this is Northeast Georgia Business Radio. Welcome back, folks, to another exciting edition of Northeast Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Tom Sheldon, and we're coming to you live from the beautiful Empower College and Career Center of Jackson County. Have with me a special guest, good guy in the community. I get to hang out with him once in a while. Always enjoy it. I have with me today, Lieutenant Michael Boatwright, Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Lieutenant, welcome to the Northeast studio.
Thank you, Tom. It's good to be here.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing well.
Everybody safe?
Everybody is safe.
I like to hear that.
It's a good day.
Well, yeah. Every day we get to go home.
That's right.
It's a wonderful day.
Especially in public safety.
Yeah. We were joking before, I have people shooting at me just in different ways. A lot safer, but in different ways. No, that's not a joke, actually.
Words have power.
Yeah, boy, do they ever. All right, man. You're a lieutenant with the Sheriff's Office.
That's correct. I am the training director.
I was about to get,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We're both type A people. This is going to go well. No, but you are the training director.
That's right. I'm responsible for all the training that happens and occurs for the Jackson County Sheriff's Office.
A little bit of pressure on that, don't you think?
It is.
Big growing county?
It is. It's a growing county, a growing agency. The personnel are ready and hungry to learn, better themselves, and hone in their craft. So it brings about its own challenges that we're trying to address and meet those needs to make sure that they're fully equipped to do the job at hand.
I got to ask you off the cuff, maybe not even a fair question. It is filling your staff, your needs. Is that difficult in general? We're generalizing. Is there a shortage of officers and deputies out there?
Yes, and it's not just Jackson County.
I'm talking generally,
Yes.
Across the state, across the nation, probably.
Across the state, across the nation, it is becoming more and more difficult to fill those positions.
So getting your deputies what they need, the staff what they need, is super important.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, someone's going to steal them and give them what they need.
It's incredibly critical, I would say, to make sure that they're properly trained. Henry Ford had a saying that you should train your people well enough to leave, but treat them so they don't.
So they stay.
That's right.
Well, I just put more pressure on you, man. Now, okay, it's 2025. I've got to believe policing, for lack of a better term, policing is different than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago.
It is.
Is it a modern era? I guess whatever era you're in is the modern era, technically.
Technically, yeah. Never really thought of it that way.
I hadn't either until just now. Now my head hurts. Wow.
So, yeah, it's one of those things where we have all the technology to assist us in doing certain parts or certain aspects of the job. But there comes a point where technology is just a tool.
Yeah.
Right. We have to become reliant upon good people to do the job. And that's more of a harder thing to teach because they're inherent skills that people possess. And I'd say one of my job and the cadre's job at the sheriff's office is to fine tune those skills, to get the people in that we want. All right, get good people in.
Right.
I can teach you how to be a better deputy, a better police officer, a better law enforcement official. That can be taught. But being a good person, that's something that you're either going to have or you're not.
I'm with you. You think you're born with or without instinct to a point.
To a point, yes.
Now, I'm sure over time you hone your skill, right?
That's correct.
But you have to have something to work with to start with.
You do. Me and the sheriff and his staff, we all believe that if you have a good person, then everything else will fall in line. Cascading effects, if you will. Making sure that we have the right people for the right job. People that have the ability to talk to people. That's the number one thing that we're looking for because the majority of what we do is interaction. It's talking with people, getting information, and then being polite about it when we do it.
Right. Yeah, that's a skill, unfortunately, in general. Again, we're generalizing that people are losing ability to just talk. We walk around many computers in our hands all the time.
We do. And that's something that me and a friend of mine who's also an instructor, he had said that one of the biggest challenges that he's facing at his agency is this new generation, if you will, of law enforcement officers. They don't not have the ability to talk, but if it's not texting and it's not shorthand, what maybe me and you were used to, the LOLs and all that, if it's not through a keyboard, then they're having difficulty creating those conversations, right? Becoming that interpersonal communication.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge.
I can imagine it is. Do you ever run into a situation where someone just won't listen? Because listening can be the easiest and most difficult thing we do.
Yes.
You got to listen.
You do.
People tell you what they do or don't want.
I was always taught that there's a difference between listening and hearing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a difference. People can hear you.
Yeah.
But whether or not they listen to you, that's something totally different.
I guess ultimately that's up to them.
Indeed.
So how much has it changed, though? I mean, seriously, just I don't know what to say next.
What we're looking for and the model that we're kind of going after is creating critical thinkers. We need somebody that has the ability to go out there because they're on their own.
Yeah.
The sheriff sits in the office and does sheriff things. The chief sits in his office and does chief things. I sit in my office and I do training things.
Right.
But these deputies are out on the road and they're on their own. And we need them to think critically about what they're doing and what the call they're responding to and how they're interacting with the public. That is the modern era, is creating critical thinkers. Adopting and training what we call the Socratic method is getting them to really reverberate or repeat back to us what it is that they're taking away from it. So if we're talking about domestic violence, okay, I can give you the case law, I can give you everything that you need to know about domestic violence. But where we're starting to see a shift is when we do scenario-based or reality-based training. That's when it comes into practical application. It's almost like running drills.
Yeah.
Like we in school, we were told stop, drop, and roll. Mm-hmm. Like to a fault, to where I thought that when I graduated school, I was going to walk outside and spontaneously combust into flames because I was taught stop, drop, and roll.
That's right.
So
you were
much.
walking. What are you doing moving?
Yes,
No,
yes.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. No, that is true.
But we drilled that. And we drilled the tornado drills and we drilled the fire drills. So why in law enforcement would we not want to drill the things that we're actively responding to?
Yeah.
Whether it's traffic stops, we're rolling or moving towards a scenario-based training paradigm, domestic violence, all these different facets that we deal with. Those are the things that we're really trying to bring together.
Usually a deputy is the first point of contact.
He or she is. We levy a lot of trust with those deputies to be able to react accordingly, to take good field notes, to make sure that they're getting all the information that they could possibly need to better help the citizens, because we believe at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, to steal the sheriff's motto forward, is we believe you matter. Mm-hmm. And we do. And every person at that agency has fully bought into our mission statement that we believe you matter.
Well, it starts at the top.
And it does.
This county's been blessed with some great sheriffs.
They have.
For many years.
They have.
Probably, well, actually longer than I've been here, and I've been here a long time.
They have. And I think Sheriff McCook is right on track to be one of the next. And in my opinion, he has what it takes to be the greatest in the state. It goes back to character. It's one of those things that you have. Ability to excite people to do what they've been called to do. Because this profession is a calling. Nobody comes into law enforcement to get rich. We're not making bukus of dollars.
You don't have that yacht down on the Mediterranean.
We don't, and we won't.
Darn it. If you did, we would not be here right now, my friend.
That's right.
We have things to do.
That's right. That's right. So it really is a calling. It's something that you have to be passionate about. And there are certain facets as it pertains to law enforcement that everyone is passionate about. I'm passionate about training. I'm passionate about public education, making sure that the public understands what and how they should react to certain encounters.
Getting back to, you mentioned the critical thinking. Mm-hmm. I guess back in the day, you wanted the biggest, baddest looking guy standing in the way. Maybe not so much. It may help. It may help. But they got to have a head on their shoulders.
That's right. The biggest, baddest dude,
Yeah.
That takes up the whole doorway.
Right.
There's a place and a time where you would need that, where you need that muscle, that grit, that coarse roughness, if you will. But what we're seeing in this era, right, that we're in, is that you need somebody that can think about what they're doing and what's in front of them. And I'm not saying that law enforcement of the past didn't. We've just kind of pointed our focus more directly to that.
Different mindset.
Yeah.
Completely different mindset.
That's right.
It wasn't wrong.
No, it wasn't wrong.
It fit the times.
It did.
It
did.
But with everything else, you got to move with the times.
That's right. And if you're not moving forward, then you're standing still.
You're standing still and ultimately backwards. We're going to take a real quick break, get in a community partner, and folks, we will be right back. One of our great community partners is Moon Trip Productions. They are a full-service, Georgia-based videography company offering wedding videos, live event coverage, and commercial independent video and photo production. Molly and her team are ready for anything you may throw at them. Need content for social media? They're there to help. Need that perfect wedding video? They're on that too. Video content for that next trade show? Yep, Moon Trip Productions. Visit moontrip.space to take your content to the moon. And while you're at it, visit our website, negabrx.com, to see all our great community partners. Lieutenant, you still there?
I'm still here.
Sweet, man. I hear people talk all this. I talk for a living, right? So I hear stuff. I listen for a living. I talk for a living. I get words like reactive, proactive thrown around, and I guess in any type of leadership role, not just law enforcement, there is proactiveness and there is reactiveness. So talk to me. Does that, first of all, I guess, does that even apply to the sheriff's office and the things you guys do and gals do?
Yes, it does apply. When we talk about reactive versus proactive, just by default, the sheriff's office and public safety as a whole is reactive, right? You pick up the phone, you have a problem, you call 911, they're either going to dispatch fire, EMS, or the sheriff's office.
Okay.
That's reactive.
Right.
We are waiting for things to happen and we are reacting to what's going on. A proactive approach, it's not a new concept, but proactive policing or proactive engagements is where you're going to see these law enforcement officers out in the community doing more outside of a call. So if there's let's say there's a soccer game at the rec center, you might see a deputy get out and walk around and just interacting, engaging, being seen, being present. That is proactive as far as law enforcement is concerned. That is proactive style of policing.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we want to be. We want to be out there. We want people to see us and know that we're there and that we're abundant. And that's kind of how we have to be. And we're working as an agency to increase personnel to beef up our numbers so that we can get more people in those roles to fit those needs. I remember when I first started in law enforcement, I was in uniform and I'd walked into a gas station to get a Reese's is my favorite. But
Yeah, man. That and M&M's.
oh yeah,
Yep.
I could do that.
Oh, yeah.
So I walked into this gas station. I was getting my Reese's and a vitamin water, and I remember it clear as day. But this woman was in there with her child, I presume, and he was acting out. He was a toddler, and she had turned around, saw me, looked at him, and said, "You better straighten up, or he's going to take you to jail."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Wow,
Lovely.
That is not at all the persona that we want to display. I want that child to come to me,
Yeah.
and know that I'm there to help."
Have a good feeling.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So being in the community at various community events, or even if it's just doing walkthroughs in gas stations, or if you see us in the supermarket or at Aldi or wherever, that proactive policing is there because we're seen and people know that we're there. So that in and of itself will deter a lot of crime. Mm-hmm. If people know that we're there and they know that we're walking about, then your crime rates are gonna dwindle. They're gonna come down. I won't say they'll dwindle, but they'll come down.
I'll say that they'll dwindle. I've seen both sides of this. I have. Mm-hmm. I left a community many, many years ago, long before I moved to Jackson County, because there was no longer that part of the community. A local police, city police force.
Right.
Every time you turned around, there'd be one of them. You got to know them.
That's right.
Seriously, you got to know them. You see them at the high school football games. I mean, you talk to these guys. They knew your vehicle. They knew your company vehicles. Mm-hmm. We had a fleet back then. But that went away. The community grew. Police department probably didn't. I don't know, right? It wasn't my gig. But you lost that, and crime went insane in that small community. Good people started moving out.
That's right.
I'm not saying I'm a good person, but I moved out. Right?
That's right. I mean,
and I came to a place where you're doing exactly what you're talking about. Boom. Love it.
And that goes back to the broken windows theory that we teach our patrolmen. The broken windows theory is if you have a neighborhood and you have a broken window,
yeah,
and it goes unattended, How long before another window gets broken?
Mm-hmm.
And then another window.
That's right.
And then another window. And then before too long, now your community is destitute. Now it's in disrepair.
There's a blight.
There is.
Yeah.
That's a great word.
It's true. And it will grow.
And it will grow. So we don't want to be the type of law enforcement agency where we're just riding around in our cruisers waiting for somebody to call, sitting on the side of the road, watching YouTube. We want to be out. We want to be engaged. And part of that is, engagement with the citizens. Don't be afraid to come up to us. We won't bite you. We're not gonna. If you're not doing anything wrong, we're not gonna ask you questions like, "Hey, what's your driver's license?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?" And that's something that we have at the agency is really adopted with Sheriff McCook is getting out there and being personable. We want to shake hands. We want to get to know you. We want to be there. We want you because when we show up in your darkest hour, when you call us and you need us, we want you to look up and say, "Hey, I spoke to that guy. He's going to help me. I spoke to that woman and she's going to help me."
Yeah. It means a lot.
It does.
It shouldn't be discounted. I will quickly get on the soapbox when I see a deputy or an officer, depending on, because we have a good mix of both here in the county. Mm-hmm. I at least say hello.
And that's
Deputy, how are you? Hey, how are you? Just acknowledge that they're. Oh, by the way, y'all are human beings. I don't know if y'all always remember that or other people remember that, but oh, by the way, you're people. You're just like me. You have a badge. Just acknowledge they exist.
And that's
all you got to do.
Yeah, that's the big thing is we don't want anybody to be afraid of us.
Right.
Unless you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing the wrong thing, we don't want you to fear us, but we want you to know that we're there and that we're going to come.
I don't know if fear is the right word, but they may be in the wrong community.
Perhaps.
I'm just saying.
Perhaps.
I can say that. I've lived here long enough. And I mean it. I'm dead serious.
True words never spoken.
Yeah.
I mean, the ability to have that community involvement and have the community back your badge, right? And it's not just the sheriff's office. Like you said, we have 7 municipalities that operate
quite a mix here in Jackson County.
Within Jackson
School
County.
Systems and law enforcement agencies, so we got a ton of them.
Yes, indeed. So, but having that, no matter where they are, what they come from, and we're working in the training division to break down those walls because for so long it's been we've operated in a 3-foot world is what I like to call it or describe it as a 3-foot world. This is my playground. These are my toys. These are my people.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk with Jefferson. I don't need to talk with Maysville, Arcade, Houston, Brazel. I don't need those guys. I can do everything I need to do right here.
Right here.
But what we're trying to do is break down those because what we've seen in recent times of crisis is that everybody's coming.
Yeah, the cavalry is coming.
Everybody's coming. During the Appalachia incident, I mean, there were people from everywhere coming from the Northwest, from the Southwest to come and offer assistance. Those types of things, those are the relationships that we build. So we know that we all on the same team. So why not train that way?
No, I'm with you on that, man.
Why not train that way?
Yeah. We're all in the same leaky lifeboat. Just once in a while, someone else gets to steer a little more than the others. But other than that, we're in the same leaky lifeboat. Now, one of the reasons I wanted you in here, we know about how hard you work with your existing deputies and future deputies, the staff, and all the things we just talked about. But you're doing a lot of work with the citizens. What awareness programs? I'm not doing this justice, but you're focusing a lot on just getting everyday guys like myself some knowledge, some awareness of what's around them and what's going on. I'm butchering that. Forgive me. Save me, Lieutenant, please.
No, so it's you hit it right. My job is to train the deputies, to train the agents of the sheriff. But part of that, I believe, and the sheriff believes, is to train the citizens as well. And not because they not train you how to be a cop. We don't want you to be a law enforcement officer.
Right.
Unless you want to, we're accepting.
Well, because, get that in there. Because honestly, the first thing we need to do is call 911.
Absolutely.
Or get into a safe place.
That's right.
Yeah.
So during active attack situations, and we've kind of moved away, they used to be called active shooter situations. That was a term that was coined by the Department of Justice, and the DOJ and Texas State University came together, and they they created this program called CRAZE, Citizens Response to Active Shooter Events. What we're moving towards now is active attack, because it doesn't have to be a firearm.
Right.
It could be a guy at the Kroger parking lot with a samurai sword.
Lovely.
And
Tell me you haven't seen that.
I've seen something
Wow.
similar.
Okay,
yes.
great. Yeah.
So those types of situations, it's important for the community, for citizens to know how to act, how to react, how to give themselves the best chance of survival. One of the biggest things that we see nowadays is they're really quick to pull out their cell phone, maybe call 911, but they want to hit that record button.
They got a video.
They got a video. I was there. Oh my gosh, this is happening right now.
Yeah.
That is a fallacy.
It's horrible.
It is, but that is where we are as a society. Everybody needs to get their 5 minutes of fame, and my message that I try to push forward is run, hide, fight.
Yeah.
Like the active shooter response paradigm for citizens is run, hide, fight, or avoid, deny, defend. Same thing, right? We want you to get as far away from whatever it is that's causing this crisis.
Right.
Find your exits. If you can't get away, you need to shelter in place and find somewhere that you can deny entry and keep that person from getting to you to hurt you.
Right.
And then the last part is defend, because if that person gains entry into wherever it is, you may have to defend yourself as if your life depends on it. Mm-hmm. But we put together a class that we deliver to the public. We did it in March at the Jefferson Church, had a great turnout. The plan is to move forward quarterly with this and try to get it out there to different locations within the county. Mm-hmm. So we started off at the Jefferson Church. Big shout out to Nick Dalton and his staff. We want to take it to like the east side, to the north side, to the south side, to the west side, because we don't want anybody to say, well, that's too far, or I've got this, or I've got that. Mm-hmm. And we want to do it enough to where even if you have little Timmy's baseball game the night that we do it, well, you know that next quarter we're going to do another one somewhere, right? So it's expected.
Yeah.
So we can continue moving this forward, and we can be the most educated people. I mean, over the weekend, there was an active shooter situation at the Walmart in Covington.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it was an employee that was disgruntled and had some beef with some other employees. But what if you were in Walmart? What if you were in Publix, Aldi? What if you were at a gas station? What if
stand at the gas pump?
I mean, what do you do? Where do you go? What is your best chance for survival? And that's what we want to convey to the public.
Scary times, my friend.
It is. It's tough to think about, and it's a hard topic. I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow.
It can be. I hate that we're even having to talk about it.
I know it's awful, but making sure that public education. My job is to teach law enforcement officers to go in and neutralize a threat. The other side, when I talk to the community, my job is to teach you how not to give that bad guy targets.
Yeah. Don't be an easy target.
That's it. And that's situational awareness. Like, I'm not saying you got to be over paranoid, but when you walk into any one of the fine restaurants that we have here in Jackson County, you should be looking where your exit's at. If something were to happen at the front, how do I get out?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be an active attack. It could be a fire. Right?
It could be.
It could be a fire. We saw that in a nightclub in Florida. There was a fire from the pyrotechnics. Mm-hmm. Everybody gravitated towards the exit that they came in.
Yeah.
But it turned into a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Nobody paid attention to the exit signs that could have easily led them out to safety off to the left or to the right of the building. Everybody wanted to come in.
Out the front door.
Out the front door, because that's what they knew.
Yeah. They're panicking.
And panic. Panic is another thing. Stress inoculation is one of the hardest things that we have to teach law enforcement officers.
I imagine so.
We'll intentionally do things to try and get their heart rate up, because that's the closest that we can get to replicating that stress.
The real thing.
That's right. So we'll have them do push-ups or burpees or, jog in place or sprint, 50 yards, and then we'll run them through a scenario so their heart rate's elevated.
Well, and they're kind of fatigued.
They are.
Physically and mentally.
Physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Right. There's this thought process that if we can push you to that point, right, we can get you right there on the precipice, right there on the cusp of what normal people would consider condition code black, or where you go into vapor lock, or you just in paralysis. If we can get you to that point and then show you that you can operate past that, making sound decisions, good judgments, maintaining your safety and the safety of others, then you can thrive, you can survive.
Wow, almost like muscle memory.
It is.
How about that? Were they doing that 30 years ago?
I don't know.
We're not that old.
I'm not that old.
Wow. You're younger than me, but I'm not that old.
Only by a couple of years.
A few more than that. But we'll go with a couple of years. Now, I got to ask, though, the citizens, you had one at the church right around the corner, the citizens programs. what does that cost to attend? You're going to have them at least every quarter, or at least hope to at least every quarter.
That's right.
I'm hoping you do it more, to be honest with you. But what do those cost? What do I have to pay to come take that, be a part of that?
So it's my favorite price, and it's free 99.
Free 99. Tip your waiter on the way out, sir.
So we offer this free of charge.
Wow.
And if you're a business listening today and you say, hey, you know what? We need some of that here. We don't know exactly what to do. Or we've got this notional idea of, we'll lock the doors and hide under the desk. Give us a call. Call the sheriff's office. We will come to you. Right? That is the message that we are sending out. Yes, we will do these large community events where we try to garner as much participation as we can. But at the end of the day, if an active attacker, a disgruntled patron walks into a doctor's office, several years ago, Gainesville, Georgia, dermatology office, they're off of Noda, active shooter came in. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Where do you go?
They're in your lap. Here you are.
Who's calling 911?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the one that gets the phone out? Who's the one that's going to go and guide people or direct people in? What are you doing? Do you know what to do? Because we can help you.
Yeah.
We can help you. And if you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, this is something that we really need, please call us.
Just call the office.
Yeah, call the office.
Well, all these big warehouses here that Jackson County loves, there can be turnover in these warehouses.
There can.
And that means people losing their jobs. That creates bad feelings sometimes. So you guys will go out to, say, one of these big warehouses and give them some ideas.
That's right.
Say, you should do this, think about that. I'm putting words in your mouth, forgive me.
No. You're absolutely right. So if, let's say the Amazon distribution plant, if they called and said, hey, we heard you on the show, we really want you to come out, we would go. We would walk through it, kind of see a lay of the land. This does two things for us. One, it creates the friendship. It creates the opening conversation, the dialogue. Two, it gets us eyes on. So now, the first time we're seeing it is not the first time when you call us when something bad happens.
I'd never thought of that. You're right. You
So
get
now
a little bit of a lay of the land.
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, and then when we do, like if they decide, please come educate our staff, we'll come and bring the staff, and I'll do my presentation, and then I'll allow the deputies to come in and do a walkthrough so that they know how to get in, where their points of entry are, where the weak points are, where possible or potential choke points would be, and things that they need to know from a tactic standpoint.
Sounds like every warehouse in Jackson County needs to do this. I'm dead serious.
It's,
if not every business.
I would think. But we are offering it, and it is there.
And that's free 99 too.
Free 99.
Wow. Pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Doing big things.
Well, Lieutenant, first of all, thanks for coming in, man. I know you're busy.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
You're pushed and pulled in many directions. There's got to be a website. The folks can learn more about what's going on with the sheriff's office.
That's right. So jacksoncountysheriff.us, and that's our homepage. From there, you can get contact information. If you just want to call up to the sheriff's office, then you can call up to the sheriff's office, ask to speak to the training director, me.
That's you.
And if I'm not in, they'll take a message, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Really want to push this. This is something that we're passionate about, and it's protecting you, because at Jackson County Sheriff's Office, we believe you matter.
Awesome. They're going to play music. That was the wrong music. They're really going to play music this time. Those producer people, they're just, it's one of those things. Folks, Lieutenant Boatwright, good guy to hang out with, great guy for the community. JacksonCountySheriff.us. Have them swing by, take a look around, give you some ideas. Keeping the community safe for us. I'm Tom Sheldon. We'll talk to you soon.